I run my fingers across the cool granite countertop, the one I selected after comparing 12 different samples. Sunlight streams through the windows I've cleaned twice this morning, casting golden rectangles across my new hardwood floors. My apartment. My achievement. My name alone on the deed. The doorbell chimes, sending a flutter of anxiety through my chest. They're here. I smooth my blouse and open the door, greeted by my mother's critical gaze as she scans the entryway. Amy, darling. She air kisses near my cheek, the scent of her expensive perfume invading my space. Her eyes narrow at the modest decorations I've arranged. Couldn't you have hired an interior designer like the one Jessica uses? This place could have so much more personality. Dad steps in behind her, already checking his phone. Traffic was terrible. Is there parking validation? Jessica sweeps in last, designer sunglasses perched on her head, phone in hand. She gives the apartment a cursory glance. It's cute, smaller than I expected. It's 2 bedrooms, I reply, swallowing the defense rising in my throat. Perfect for me. I lead them through the tour I've rehearsed, pointing out features I've worked months of overtime to afford. The south-facing windows bring in natural light all day. And I negotiated a great deal on the upgraded appliances. Dad nods absently, thumbing through emails. Did you see my latest post got 5,000 likes? Jessica interrupts, thrusting her phone toward our parents. The activewear company wants to extend my influencer contract. Mom and Dad immediately crowd around her screen. Show us, Mom exclaims. Your social media is really taking off. That's my girl, Dad beams, suddenly attentive. Always knew you'd make a name for yourself. I stand forgotten by my carefully selected kitchen backsplash. I got promoted to senior manager last week. I offer when there's a lull. 3 years instead of the usual 5. That's nice, dear, Mom says without looking up. Now about Jessica's influencer collaboration. A memory surfaces. Me at 12, saving every dollar of allowance for months while Jessica blew hers on mall trips. When I finally had enough for the laptop I needed for school projects, I showed my parents proudly. That's a lot of hard work, Dad had said distractedly. That same night, Jessica came home with new designer jeans Mom had bought her just because. The scene repeats with different props as we grow. My full scholarship announcement met with distracted nods at dinner, while Jessica's barely passing graduation warranted a backyard celebration with 50 guests. Anyone want coffee? I ask, returning to the present. I've got that special blend from the local roaster. No one answers. They've migrated to my small balcony where Jessica is taking selfies, positioning herself to capture the city view I fell in love with. This would make such a cute background for my wellness series, she says, though I'd need to filter out those power lines. My parents nod appreciatively, as if she's discovered something I've never noticed. After they leave early, because Jessica has a thing, I stand in my quiet apartment, feeling the hollow victory. 3 weeks later, I'm in the dealership signing papers for my new SUV. Not brand new, but new to me. 3 years of saving while driving a car held together with hope and duct tape. The salesman hands me the keys. Congratulations, Miss Morgan, she's all yours. Pride swells in my chest as I run my hand along the sleek silver exterior. I worked for this. Every dollar earned through early mornings and late nights. When my family arrives for Sunday dinner, I park prominently in the driveway. Nice car, Dad says, giving it a cursory glance. It's the mid-range model, I explain. Good safety ratings, and I negotiated them down $3,000. Jessica circles it, her expression unimpressed. Why work so hard? I'll just find a rich husband and get everything handed to me. My parents laugh like she said something brilliant. That's our Jess, always thinking ahead, Mom says, squeezing Jessica's arm affectionately. I stand beside my car, fingers tightening around my keys as I force a smile. This moment of achievement, like all the others, dissolves into the background of Jessica's distance. I follow them inside, the familiar weight settling on my shoulders, the weight of being perpetually second best in the eyes of the people who should see me most clearly. What they don't see is the resolve hardening inside me. What they don't know is that one day they'll push too far. And when that day comes, they'll discover what I'm truly capable of. I stand in a cramped dressing room, watching as my sister twirls in her $25,000 wedding gown. The silk rustles like money changing hands, diamonds catching light at her throat. Perfect. Our mother breathes, eyes glistening. Absolutely perfect. I adjust the bridesmaid dress they've selected, a shade that washes out my complexion, in a cut that does nothing for my figure. The price tag alone could cover my monthly mortgage payment. Tyler's family has connections to everyone, Jessica emphasizes, examining her reflection from another angle. This wedding is going to be featured in 3 different magazines. Mom fusses with Jessica's train, spreading it out to maximize the dramatic effect. Our daughter has truly made it. I catch my mother's gaze in the mirror as she looks over at me. This is what real success looks like, Amy, she says, her voice honey, sweet but eyes sharp. Not everyone understands the value of making the right connections. I bite my tongue until I taste copper. Across the boutique, I notice Tyler's mother and sister exchange a glance I recognize concern masked as politeness. They see what my parents refuse to acknowledge. The invitation to Jessica's destination honeymoon arrives through Instagram. Their trip to the Maldives fills my feed for 2 weeks straight. Overwater bungalows, champagne at sunrise, designer swimwear meticulously arranged on pristine sand. My promotion email arrives the same day as Jessica's posts of her new Range Rover. Congratulations, the subject line reads. Director of Marketing effective immediately. I pour a glass of wine and update my investment portfolio spreadsheet, adding the new salary figures. The numbers grow steadily, not glamorous, but solid. Real. When I drive to my parents for Sunday dinner, Jessica's gleaming sports car dominates the driveway. Inside, she lounges on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Just ordered the most incredible Hermes bag, she announces without looking up. Tyler's bonus came through early. I set down the dish I've brought, homemade lasagna still warm from my oven. That's nice, I say. I just got promoted to director. Dad glances up from his newspaper. Good for you, kiddo. Jessica, show us the bag you're getting. 4 years later, I hear the news through a phone call from my sobbing mother. He just left her, Mom wails through the speaker. Called her shallow and wasteful. Can you believe it? After everything she's done for him. I grip my phone tighter, thinking of the luxury vacations, the wardrobes of clothes with tags still attached, the sports cars traded in yearly. What exactly happened? Tyler stood at the door with his suitcases, Mom says, her voice cracking. He told Jessica he couldn't support her endless spending anymore, that she'd never understood the value of money or marriage. She tried to explain that she deserves nice things, but he just walked away. I stare at my expense tracker app, decades of careful decisions reflected in neat columns. The divorce papers cite irreconcilable differences and financial irresponsibility. Mom spits the words like venom. His lawyer is being absolutely ruthless about the prenup. She's getting practically nothing, Amy. Where is she staying? I ask, though I already know the answer. Here, of course, Mom says, as if it's obvious. We've kept her room exactly as she left it. She needs our support right now. My hands tremble as I open the email 3 times to confirm I'm not hallucinating. Congratulations, Amy Morgan. You're the winner of our European Dream Vacation contest. Your entry showcasing innovative marketing strategies has earned you an all-expenses-paid trip, valued at $15,000. Experience 2 weeks across 5 European countries. I dial my parents' number, excitement bubbling in my chest. For once, I have something extraordinary to share. Mom, Dad, you won't believe this. I entered a professional contest months ago and just found out I won a $15,000 European trip. I'm going to see Italy, France. Oh, sweetie, Mom interrupts, her voice shifting to the tone she uses when explaining difficult concepts to children. You should give that to Jessica. She needs to heal right now. The excitement freezes in my chest. What? Your sister is devastated, Dad chimes in. A trip like that would really help her recover from this trauma. She hasn't had a vacation since the divorce. It's not transferable, I say automatically, though I haven't even checked. It's a professional achievement prize. I'm sure you could work something out, Mom presses. Your sister needs this more than you do. It's selfish to keep it. The familiar weight settles on my shoulders, the expectation that I'll fold, accommodate, sacrifice. But something different stirs beneath the weight this time. Something that's been building through years of dimmed celebrations and diverted attention. No. The silence on the other end of the line stretches long enough that I check to see if the call dropped. Excuse me? Mom finally says. No, I repeat, my voice growing steady. I earned this. I'm going. Amy Elizabeth Morgan. My father's voice hardens. We're disappointed in you, after everything we've done. What exactly have you done? The words escape before I can reconsider. When have you ever celebrated my achievements the way you celebrate Jessica's existence? I hear the front door open in the background of the call, followed by Jessica's voice asking what's happening. Your sister is being selfish, Mom explains loudly. She won a European trip and refuses to give it to you. Jessica's voice comes through clearly, shrill with indignation. Are you serious? You've always had everything easy. You have a job and an apartment. I have nothing. I have those things because I worked for them, I say, surprised by how calm I sound. Just like I worked for this trip. We raised you to care about family, Dad says, disappointment heavy in his voice. I do care about family, I reply, but I also care about myself. I end the call and stand in my quiet kitchen, shoulders square for the first time in years. My reflection in the window shows someone I barely recognize, someone with a straight spine and clear eyes. 2 weeks in Europe, away from their expectations and disappointments, away from a lifetime of second place. I book my flight that night. I tilt my face toward the Tuscan sun, letting its warmth sink into my skin. Standing atop this ancient hill, surrounded by cypress trees and rolling vineyards, I feel something unfamiliar peace. No one here knows about Amy Morgan, the perpetual second best. No one cares about Jessica's Instagram followers or my parents' transparent favoritism. I snap photos of crumbling stone archways and centuries-old frescoes, never once turning the camera on myself. For 3 glorious weeks, I've existed without comparison, without judgment, without having to make myself smaller. In my travel journal, the pen flows easily across the page. For the first time, I feel valued for who I am. The Italian family at the local trattoria remembers my name, not my sister's. The watercolor instructor praises my eye for detail, not my ability to pose prettily. The hiking guide appreciates my prepared questions, not my designer activewear. On my final evening, I raise a glass of local wine with travelers I've befriended. To building a life on my own terms, I toast. The words taste like possibility. My key turns in the lock, luggage heavy in my hands. 15 hours of travel has left me craving a hot shower in my own bed. But the moment the door swings open, something is wrong. Unfamiliar shoes designer stilettos I'd never waste money on litter my meticulously organized entryway. A silk blouse that costs more than my monthly grocery budget is thrown carelessly over my sofa. The air smells ranch expensive perfume masking something else, something sour. Hello? I call out, voice sharper than intended. The bathroom door opens. Jessica emerges, wrapped in my robe, hair dripping onto my clean floors. Oh, she says, barely glancing up from her phone. You're back already? My throat tightens. What are you doing in my apartment? She shrugs, scrolling through social media. Mom and Dad gave me a key. I needed somewhere to stay. They're on speaker, actually. She gestures toward the phone on my kitchen counter. I drop my bags and stride across the room. Mom? Dad? Why does Jessica have a key to my apartment? Amy, don't make a fuss. My mother's voice crackles through the speaker. Your sister needed somewhere to stay while sorting things out. Your place was just sitting empty. My place wasn't sitting empty. I was on a trip. A trip you should have given to your sister. My father interrupts. She needed it more than you. I press my fingers against my temples. Where's all my stuff? My bedroom. I moved some things to make space, Jessica says, examining her manicure. No big deal. My heart pounds as I scan the apartment. Family photos rearranged. My books stacked haphazardly in corners. Cabinet doors left open. Contents reorganized to make room for Jessica's organic specialty foods. A horrible thought strikes me. My car. I need to check on my car. I grab my keys and rush out, ignoring Jessica's eye roll and my parents' voices calling after me. The elevator seems to crawl. My hands shake as I punch the button for the parking garage. The space where my SUV should be space 247, where I've parked for 2 years, is empty. A cold weight settles in my stomach. I dial my parents, pacing the concrete floor. Where is my car? I demand when my father answers. Now, Amy, don't overreact. His tone is the same one he used when explaining why Jessica got a car for her 16th birthday while I took the bus until I could save for my own. Where is my car? Each word punctuated by the sharp click of my shoes on concrete. We sold it, he says matter-of-factly. Jessica needed money to get back on her feet. The world tilts. You sold my car? You had no right. My mother's voice cuts in. It was just a car, Amy. Family is more important. Jessica needs us right now. It was my car, I whisper, then louder. It was my car. I paid for it. My name was on the title. We'll discuss this when you've calmed down, my father says before hanging up. I stare at my phone, rage building like a physical force. I take the stairs back to my apartment, too restless for the elevator. Jessica is still there, now lounging on my couch, scrolling through her phone. Where's the money from my car, I demand. She doesn't look up. I needed things. I spot a bank statement on the counter my parents' account. A withdrawal for $25,000. Next to it, receipts from designer boutiques and a new spa membership card with Jessica's name. My SUV, my independence, my hard work, all liquidated to fund Jessica's healing. The front door opens. My parents walk in without knocking, as if they own the place, as if they have any right to be here. You're being dramatic, my father says with a dismissive wave of his hand. You can buy another car. You have a good job. You stole from me, I say, my voice unnaturally calm. You sold property that wasn't yours to sell. My mother sighs. Family shares everything. Why are you so selfish? That word selfish, the one they've wielded against me my entire life whenever I've wanted something for myself. But something has changed. My hands are no longer shaking. My voice is steady. The shame they've tried to instill no longer takes root. Get out, I say. All of you. Now. Jessica's face contorts in manufactured outrage. After everything we've done for you? Fake tears spring to her eyes, the same performance that's worked on our parents for decades. My father puffs up. This is not how you speak to family. You've done nothing but take. I cut him off, my voice ice cold. That ends. Get out of my apartment before I call the police and report my car stolen. Jessica gasps. You wouldn't. I would. I am. I hold the door open, arm rigid. Leave your key. My mother tries one last manipulation. We're your family, Amy. I meet her eyes without flinching. Not anymore. When the door closes behind them, I slide the deadbolt with a satisfying click. For the first time, the sound doesn't represent keeping others out. It represents keeping myself in. I slide the manila folder across the polished desk. Evidence of betrayal packaged in crisp chronological order. The attorney Ms. Liviner raises her eyebrows as she flips through the documents. They had no legal right to sell property registered in your name, she says, her voice sharpening as she examines the car title. My name in bold black letters. This is straightforward theft. I want everything documented, every penny. My voice doesn't waver anymore when I speak about them. The tremor that used to live in my throat has hardened into something stronger. Miss Levine lifts a spreadsheet from the folder. You've kept receipts for years? Since I was 16. I don't tell her how it started as a desperate attempt to prove my worth. How I'd highlighted every contribution, every loan that mysteriously became a gift when Jessica needed something. Miss Levine taps her pen against my meticulously organized evidence. Most clients come in with scattered memories, maybe a bank statement or two. You've brought me a case file that would make a paralegal jealous. I say nothing. Preparation has always been my armor. She holds up my car title, the highlighter mark vivid against the paper. The vehicle was solely in your name. They had no authority to sell it. They never thought I'd fight back. I run my finger along the edge of the desk. They still don't. Back home, I add another document to the growing file. A printout of Jessica's Instagram post timestamped 3 days after they sold my car showing her lounging at a luxury spa. The caption reads, Self-care is investing in yourself. Number healing, number treat yourself, number deserving. Beside it, I place screenshots of text messages from my father. We did what was necessary for Jessica. The car was just sitting there while you were gallivanting in Europe. My mother, family shares. You've always been so selfish with your things. The evidence mounts. Not just of the car, but years of financial manipulation. The emergency money they needed when I was 24 that went toward Jessica's destination birthday party. The temporary housing they demanded for Jessica in my apartment that stretched from weeks to months. I close the folder and place it carefully in my briefcase. Tomorrow, they learn what consequences feel like. The sheriff is punctual. I stand in my living room, arms crossed, as he knocks on my apartment door. Jessica answers, her face transitioning from annoyance to confusion. Jessica Morgan, the sheriff asks. Yes, she's wearing my robe again. I'm serving you with an eviction notice. You have 72 hours to vacate these premises. Jessica's mouth opens and closes. She snatches the document, scans it, then glares at me over the sheriff's shoulder. You wouldn't. I meet her gaze. I already have. After the sheriff leaves, Jessica advances on me. You vindictive bitch. Mom and Dad will. They'll what? Sell another one of my possessions without permission? We've reached the end of that particular road. I pick up her designer purse from my coffee table and hold it out. You might want to start packing. 3 days later, I stand in the doorway, arms crossed as Jessica drags her overloaded suitcases across my hardwood floors. The sheriff waits patiently by the elevator. This is ridiculous, she huffs, struggling with a designer bag stuffed with clothes, most of them still with tags. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem. My voice sounds different even to my own ears, unburdened. Jessica pauses at the threshold, mascara smudged beneath her eyes. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I'm demanding respect. I don't move from my position. The sheriff checks his watch. We need to wrap this up, ma'am. Jessica's face contorts with a familiar tantrum brewing, but for once, she has no audience willing to indulge it. She yanks her suitcase over the threshold with a dramatic sob. The sheriff guides her toward the elevator with professional detachment. I close the door as they disappear from view. The silence in my apartment feels like a physical presence, clean and untainted. My father's voicemail plays on speaker while the locksmith changes my locks. You wouldn't sue your own family. We raised you, paid for your. I stop the recording and add it to my evidence folder, nodding to the locksmith as he hands me new keys. The security system will send notifications directly to your phone, the technician explains as he installs sensors on my windows. Any unauthorized entry triggers an immediate alert. I pay him extra to finish today. Tonight, I'll sleep in my space truly mine for the first time in weeks. Their living room looks smaller than I remember. Mom perches on the edge of the sofa, tissues clutched in her hand. Dad stands by the fireplace, arms crossed, face flushed. Miss Levine sits beside me, her briefcase open. You have two choices, I state, my voice steady. Return $30,000 plus damages or we proceed to court. We don't have that kind of money. My mother's tears flow freely, the same tears that once paralyzed me with guilt. Dad slams his hand against the mantel. This is extortion. This is justice, miss. Levine corrects, her tone professionally detached. The documentation is comprehensive. The unauthorized sale of the vehicle, the misappropriation of funds, the pattern of financial exploitation. Exploitation? My mother's tears evaporate. We're her parents. Yes, I say, and parents shouldn't steal from their children. Where are we supposed to get $30,000? Dad demands. I look around the house. I grew up in the house. They remortgaged twice to fund Jessica's whims. Then you'll need to sell the house. You have 30 days to make arrangements. My mother gasps. My father's face drains of color. Amy, he starts, his voice softening into the cajoling tone that once worked so well. Sweetheart, we can work something out as a family. We already tried that approach. I close my copy of the legal documents. It didn't work out well for me. As we leave, I don't look back. The weight that's lived between my shoulder blades for decades feels lighter with each step. Is it really revenge when you're simply demanding justice? The thought follows me to the car where, for the first time, I allow myself a small smile. They never imagined I would fight back. They're about to learn that years of dismissal and theft create a formidable opponent. I straighten my navy blazer and check my reflection in the courthouse bathroom mirror. My hands are steady a welcome change from the trembling that haunted me after discovering Jessica in my apartment. The woman staring back at me stands taller than she did 3 months ago. The door swings open, and I step into the marble-floored hallway where my attorney waits, briefcase in hand. The click of my heels against stone echoes with each deliberate step. Then I see them huddled together at the far end of the corridor. Mom's eyes are puffy. Dad's shoulders slump beneath his worn suit jacket. Jessica stands slightly apart, scrolling through her phone as if this is all a minor inconvenience. They spot me. Mom rushes forward, arms outstretched. Amy, sweetheart, we can still fix this as a family. Her perfume invades my space, the same scent that filled my apartment when I returned to find a stranger living in my home. This isn't who we raised you to be. Dad steps closer, voice low. Think about what this will do to our reputation, to your mother's health. Is that what you want? I feel a familiar pressure building in my chest, the weight of family obligation. For a moment, I'm 12 again, swallowing disappointment as my achievements fade into the background of Jessica's existence. Jessica finally pockets her phone and hisses, "You're destroying our family over a stupid car." The pressure in my chest dissolves, replaced by a clarity that straightens my spine. This stopped being about the car the moment you felt entitled to take what wasn't yours. My voice comes out steadier than I expected. It's about 29 years of taking without asking. The courtroom doors open. My attorney touches my elbow, and I walk past them without looking back. Judge Carwell's glasses reflect the projection screen as my attorney displays the text message from my father. "We sold your car. Jessica needed the money more." The message looms large against the white wall, the casual theft of my property laid bare in 12 simple words. Miss Morgan has documented years of financial exploitation by her family members, my attorney continues, clicking through a slideshow of evidence. Bank statements showing $25,000 withdrawn the day after the unauthorized sale of her vehicle. Social media posts from the defendant Jessica Morgan showing purchases made with those funds. I watch my father shift in his seat, tugging at his collar. My mother stares at her hands folded in her lap. Jessica glares at me from across the room, her expression a mixture of disbelief and indignation as if my seeking justice is the true betrayal. The judge's expression grows increasingly troubled as financial records flash across the screen years of loans, never repaid, my name on the car title, the documented value of the vehicle. My parents' attorney offers weak rebuttals about family arrangements and misunderstandings, but his arguments wither beneath the weight of evidence I've meticulously collected. When the judge finally speaks, his voice cuts through the courtroom like a blade. This is a clear case of unauthorized sale of property and financial exploitation. He removes his glasses, fixing my parents with a direct stare. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff. The words hang in the air. Years of dismissal and diminishment answered with 6 simple words. The court finds in favor. The defendants are ordered to pay $30,000 for the value of the vehicle, plus $10,000 in damages, and all legal fees associated with this case. I hear my father's sharp intake of breath. My mother leans over, whispering something in his ear. His face pales. "We'll lose the house," my mother whispers, loud enough to carry in the quiet courtroom. The judge continues speaking, but their words echo in my mind. "We'll lose the house." The home where Jessica was celebrated while I was overlooked. Where my scholarship announcement warranted distracted nods, while Jessica's C-average graduation inspired a backyard party for 50. I should feel vindicated. Instead, I feel hollow not from regret, but from the realization that justice doesn't heal the wounds. It simply stops the bleeding. 3 weeks later, I drive past my childhood home. The for sale sign swings gently in the spring breeze. A moving truck sits in the driveway, its back doors open like a mouth ready to swallow the remnants of my past. Through the open garage, I glimpse Jessica carrying a box to her car, her face tight, with an unfamiliar emotion reality. For the first time in her life, Jessica is facing consequences that can't be charmed away or passed to someone else. I don't slow down. I don't stop. My new SUV, nicer than the one they sold, carries me forward while they move backward into a 2-bedroom apartment across town. The symmetry isn't lost on me. My 2-bedroom apartment they dismissed, now mirrored in their downsized reality. Back home, I stand at my kitchen counter, the one I selected after comparing 12 different samples. Sunlight still streams through my windows, casting golden rectangles across my hardwood floors. But something has shifted. The apartment feels different because I am different. The court judgment sits on my countertop. I trace my finger over the embossed seal, the official recognition of my rights. For a moment, I consider framing Ida trophy of sorts. Instead, I open a drawer and place it inside, closing it with a soft click. This chapter is closed, I whisper to the empty room. I pull out my phone and scroll to my contacts. Mom, Dad, Jessica. 3 names that once defined my worth, now reduced to digital entries I no longer need. Delete, delete, delete. With each tap, the weight I've carried since childhood grows lighter. I take a deep breath, not the shallow kind that braces for disappointment, but the full lunged inhale of someone facing an open horizon. Outside my window, the city continues its rhythm. Inside, the only sound is my breathing steady and free. I trace my fingers over the engraved nameplate on my office door. Director of Marketing, Amy Morgan. The brass feels cool and solid against my skin, much like the foundation I've built for myself. 3 years ago, I was fighting for recognition in a family that couldn't see me. Now, executives seek my opinion across conference tables. Amy, do you have a minute? Tara peeks into my office, her expression earnest. I'm struggling with the presentation for tomorrow. Come in. I gesture to the chair across from my desk where project briefs and quarterly reports are arranged in precise stacks. Behind me, my Marketing Excellence Award catches the afternoon light. After guiding Tara through her concerns, I signed the final papers for my beach house investment property, calculated decision after months of research and planning. The realtor beams as I hand her back the pen. Congratulations, Miss Morgan. It's rare to see someone your age making such sound investments. I smile, knowing what she doesn't, that each signature represents not just financial acumen, but freedom purchased at the steepest price. Later that evening, laughter fills my apartment. 6 friends crowd around my dining table, wine glasses reflecting the warm lighting I've installed since reclaiming my space. These people celebrate my victories without diminishing them, ask about my dreams without redirecting the conversation to themselves. To Amy, Marcos raises his glass, his eyes sincere. Who taught us all what real strength looks like. As their glasses clink against mine, warmth spreads through my chest that has nothing to do with the wine. My smile reaches my eyes, unforced and genuine. The hostess leads me to my favorite corner table at Riviera. I'm halfway through my salmon when the restaurant door swings open. My parents enter, Jessica trailing behind them. They look smaller somehow, diminished. Jessica spots me first, freezing momentarily before masking her expression. Our eyes meet across the restaurant, 3 seconds of contact that once would have sent anxiety spiraling through me. Now I feel nothing but calm detachment, like observing strangers in a painting. I return to my meal, savoring each bite as they're seated on the opposite side of the restaurant. Wind whips through my hair as I drive my new SUV along the coastal highway. At $45,000, it's a significant upgrade from what they took from me. The dashboard holds a small framed photo from my European trip, me standing alone on a hillside, arms outstretched, face tilted toward the sun. Some prices are worth paying for peace, I whisper to the open road ahead. My parents think I should keep supporting my brother financially, even though he gambles it away, Elise says, her voice trembling slightly. She's the newest member of my team, brilliant but burdened. Family doesn't always mean loyalty, I tell her, remembering my own journey. Respect must be earned, even from those who share your blood. She looks up, surprised by my directness. Self-reliance is the most valuable achievement, I continue, choosing my words carefully. And setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary for survival. That evening, I spread travel brochures across my coffee table grease. New Zealand, Morocco. Solo adventures calling to a woman who no longer fears standing alone. Beside them lies my investment portfolio, growing steadily, and plans for renovating my kitchen with the exact backsplash I've wanted. I open my journal, a habit I've maintained since rebuilding my life, and write, the family I choose will be the one I deserve. Each word feels like shedding another layer of the woman I was the one who measured her worth by others' validation. The apartment is quiet except for the scratch of my pen against paper, but the silence no longer feels empty. It feels like mine.
I step into my bedroom and freeze. My heart stutters to a full stop, then lurches into a frantic rhythm. Giselle stands before my full-length mirror, her slender figure draped in ivory satin that catches the afternoon light streaming through my bedroom window. My wedding after-party dress. The one I spent 3 months searching for, the one that made James's eyes light up when I showed him the designer's sketch. My grandmother's diamond earrings dangle from her ears, catching prismatic light with every slight movement of her head. The heirlooms meant for me. The ones Grandma Rose promised would be mine on my wedding day. Giselle tilts her head, admiring her reflection, completely oblivious to my presence. The ivory satin cascades over her shoulders like it was made for her because it was made for me. What are you doing with my wedding dress? My voice barely rises above a whisper, but it carries enough force to make Giselle turn. Instead of guilt, her expression brightens. Helena, perfect timing. She runs her hands down the fabric. It looks better on me anyway. Mom agrees. The words hit me like a physical blow. Behind me, a floorboard creaks. I turn to find my parents hovering in the doorway, their expressions a mixture of discomfort and determination. They knew. Of course they knew. Honey? Mom steps forward, her voice taking on that placating tone I know too well. You'll have the main wedding gown. Can't you share just this once? Dad nods, waving his hand dismissively. Your sister has always looked stunning in white. Their words unlock a flood of memories. Giselle borrowing my designer shoes for a date, returning them scuffed beyond repair. My vintage purse coming back with makeup stains embedded in the leather. The cashmere sweater I saved 3 paychecks to buy, stretched beyond recognition after her weekend trip. Family comes first. I'd told myself each time, swallowing my objections, burying my resentment. Last winter flashes before me. The outfit I'd carefully styled for Senator Graham's daughter, the client who could have launched my styling career into the stratosphere. Giselle borrowing the ensemble for just an hour before I delivered it. The red wine stain spreading across the custom jacket like a wound. This is strike one, my boss had warned, eyes cold with professional disappointment. When I confronted my parents, their response was swift. Accidents happen. She's your sister. I stand straighter now, shoulders pulling back. Something inside me shifts, like tectonic plates realigning after years of pressure. Not this time. The words come out clear and steady. Take it off. Silence fills the room, thick enough to choke on. Giselle's lips part in shock, her eyes widening with the unfamiliar sensation of being denied. You can't be serious. She laughs, but it sounds hollow even to her ears. Mom, tell her she's being ridiculous. Mom steps toward me, hands outstretched in supplication. Helena, sweetie, there's no need for drama. Giselle just wants to feel special too. Take it off, I repeat, my voice dropping lower. Now, or I call off the wedding. The threat hangs in the air between us. Dad's face flushes crimson, but something in my expression stops whatever rebuke was forming on his lips. Fine, Giselle spits the word. I didn't want your stupid dress anyway. Her fingers fumble with the delicate zipper, her movements deliberately rough. I step forward and catch her wrist before she can damage the fabric. The earrings too, I say quietly. With exaggerated care, she removes my grandmother's earrings, dropping them into my palm with enough force to make a statement. The diamonds burn cold against my skin. Later, after Giselle has flounced from my room in theatrical outrage, I hang the dress in my closet. My parents' cold glares follow me, promising consequences for this rebellion. I run my fingers over the smooth fabric, heart still pounding. For 27 years, I've stepped aside, made room, kept peace, the good daughter, the responsible one, the one who understands. Looking at my dress, I make a silent promise. Not anymore. They've taken enough. This wedding will be mine. And God help anyone who tries to steal another piece of me. The following day, James drops his notebook on our coffee table and rubs his temples. So that's it? We've decided on the honey lavender cake with buttercream frosting? I nod, leaning back into our sofa. After weeks of tastings and disagreements, we've finally locked down the last major wedding decision. James reaches for my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. 3 more weeks, Helena. Just 3 more weeks until you're Mrs. Helena Wells. The doorbell chimes before I can respond. I check my phone, no scheduled visits. James raises an eyebrow but rises to answer it. My parents' voices float from the entryway, my mother's rapid-fire questions about our new sofa slicing through the peaceful afternoon. They didn't call. They never call. They just appear, like unwelcome spirits summoned by wedding planning. We brought the family wedding planner, Mom announces, swooping into our living room. She clutches a leather-bound binder that I've never seen before. Dad follows, his eyes darting around our apartment, mentally calculating what we paid for everything. We've made some adjustments. Mom continues, spreading the binder across our coffee table, covering our own notes. Just small tweaks to make everything perfect. James catches my eye as he settles beside me. His fingers find mine again, squeezing gently. Mom flips to a page labeled Bridal Party and points to a new notation I've never seen. We've added Giselle as co-bride with a matching white gown and coordinating jewelry. Note. The room tilts sideways. Co-bride? James leans forward. There's no such thing as a co-bride. It's our wedding. Mom waves her hand dismissively. It's a new trend, very European. It's not a trend, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. And it's not happening. And it's not happening. Dad clears his throat. Helena, be reasonable. Your sister has been looking forward to this. Looking forward to what? My wedding? The words scrape my throat. To sharing this special day, Mom corrects, her smile tightening at the corners. After they leave with promises to discuss this further, I sit at our laptop and check my email. Something feels wrong. I type wedding in the search bar and watch as dozens of exchanges between my mother and our venue appear emails where I was not copied. James? I call, my voice barely audible. You need to see this. He reads over my shoulder, his breath catching. Special instructions to the venue coordinator about highlighting both sisters equally. detailed arrangements for balanced photo opportunities, a request for 2 bridal suites. My phone buzzes with a notification. Giselle has tagged me in an Instagram post. My stomach clenches as I open it. There she stands in my after-party dress, now altered slightly, with the caption, "Final fitting for my wedding look, sister ceremony, double the brides." The comments flood with confused congratulations. "Didn't know you were engaged too. What's a sister ceremony? So cool you're both getting married." My phone rings. Aunt Catherine from Virginia. "Helena, honey. Your mother just told me about this unusual sister ceremony. Is this something you really want?" The room spins as I try to explain that none of this was my idea. More calls follow. Family friends. Distant relatives. All confused, all asking the same question. Why am I making my sister a co-bride? When I confront my mother by phone, her voice drips with practiced martyrdom. "You've always been the strong one, Helena. Giselle needs this. She's been so depressed since that breakup last year." My father's voice cuts in on the extension. "We're paying for half this wedding. We have a say in how it unfolds." More calls, more pressure. Uncle Robert suggesting I be the bigger person. Cousin Samantha wondering if I'm being a bit selfish. Each conversation feels like water rising around my neck. Only Aunt Martha tells me the truth when she visits the next day, her voice low as she glances toward the door. "They've been planning this since you announced your engagement. Your mother had Giselle's dress ordered the same week you ordered yours." I press my hands against our kitchen counter, feeling the cool granite anchor me. "How do you know this?" "I overheard them at Christmas. Your mother said it would be easier to ask forgiveness than permission." Martha squeezes my arm. "I should have told you sooner." That evening, I visit Grandma Rose at her assisted living facility. Unlike my parents' sprawling house, her small apartment feels like a sanctuary. "This is your day, Helena," she says, her arthritic fingers covering mine. "No one else's, not your sister's, not your mother's." When I return home, James has spreadsheets open on our laptop. "We can pay for it ourselves," he says, without looking up. "I've run the numbers 3 ways. We can make it work." Sarah, my maid of honor, arrives with a bottle of wine and her legal pad. "I'm documenting everything," she announces, flipping to a detailed timeline of every boundary violation, in case things get ugly. My phone rings again, my boss this time. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something makes me answer. "Helena?" he says, his voice uncharacteristically gentle. "One of our clients mentioned your double wedding. Want to tell me what's happening?" I explain in halting sentences, expecting professional concern about how this might affect our business relationships. Instead, he surprises me. "Your sister cost us that Senator Graham campaign," he says flatly. "Don't let her cost you your wedding too." That night, my parents deliver their ultimatum via text: include Giselle as co-bride or lose their financial support. The message contains thinly veiled reminders about Grandma Rose's care and how family reputation affects my professional standing. I stand at our bedroom window, staring at the city lights below. James wraps his arms around me from behind. "This isn't just about a dress anymore," I whisper. "This is about my entire life." 2 days after finding the messages, my phone screen illuminates with another notification. Giselle's tearful face fills the local morning show segment. "All I wanted was to share in my sister's special day." The host nods sympathetically. "And she refused to let you wear the dress?" "She threatened to cancel the entire wedding." Giselle dabs at her eyes with a tissue. "After everything our family has done for her." I slam my coffee mug down so hard liquid sloshes onto my kitchen counter. The morning show host doesn't mention how Giselle tried on my dress without permission, how she's borrowed and ruined my things for 27 years, or how this wedding is supposed to be about James and me, not her. Within hours, share with sister trends on local social media. My cousin Denise texts, "Is it really such a big deal? Family should come first." My phone rings. Aunt Carol, who hasn't called me in 3 years. "Helena, I raised you better than this. Your mother is heartbroken." I grip the phone tighter. Did Mom mention she tried to make Giselle a co-bride? Don't be dramatic. She just wants both her daughters to shine. The doorbell rings. A delivery man hands me a stack of letters from my parents' church congregation. The top envelope, already opened, contains a handwritten note: "Honor thy father and mother." I drop the pile into the recycling bin. Monday morning at the studio, I arrange outfits for Valerie Torres. an influencer with 2 million followers. My concentration fractures with each phone vibration. 12 texts from Mom, 7 from Dad, 23 from Giselle. Is everything okay? Valerie asks, studying my face as I adjust her collar. You seem distracted. Everything's fine. I lie, pinning the hem of her dress. I saw that news segment with your sister. Valerie tilts her head. Wedding drama, right? My followers are talking about it. My hands freeze mid-pin. My private life, my professional space, the boundaries blurring like watercolors in rain. It's complicated. I manage. After Valerie leaves, Diana, my boss, calls me into her office. The morning segment plays silently on her computer screen. This needs to stay out of the studio, she says, gesturing toward the footage. Clients come to us for perfection, not family soap operas. Keep it together or take a leave of absence. I nod, throat tight. It won't be an issue. Tuesday evening, I drive to Grandmother Rose's cottage in Pasadena. The familiar scent of cinnamon and old books wraps around me as I step inside. Her walls display family photos spanning decades, including one of my mother and her sister at a wedding, standing uncomfortably apart. You look exhausted, my dear. Grandmother Rose guides me to her worn floral sofa. The tears come without warning. They're making me the villain. Giselle went on television. The church congregation sent letters. My boss threatened my job. She holds my hand, her skin paper thin but her grip surprisingly strong. Your mother did the same to her sister. I look up, startled. What? At Louise's wedding. Your mother wore white, insisted on standing next to the bride in photos, demanded matching flowers. When Louise objected, your grandpa sided with your mother. She sighs. They haven't spoken in 30 years. I didn't know. I need to. Some patterns need to be broken, dear. Someone has to be brave enough. She squeezes my fingers. And you've always been the strong one. Grandmother Rose stands slowly, her knees creaking. I have something that might help you. She leads me to her bedroom where a cedar chest sits at the foot of her bed. The hinges protest as she lifts the lid. Inside, beneath a crocheted blanket, lies a stack of legal documents. What are these? I ask, taking the folder she hands me. Look at the house deed first. I scan the document, my eyes catching on my own name next to hers. I'm a co-owner of your house? She nods. Since your 25th birthday. The next document shows the family trust. My name appears prominently as executor of my grandmother's estate. Grandma, I don't understand. I've been watching this happen for years, she says simply. Your parents have always allowed Giselle to take what's yours. I wanted to make sure they couldn't take everything. The weight of what she's telling me settles on my shoulders. You've been protecting me all this time. Now you can protect yourself. The next morning, I meet Tasha, a wedding planner not connected to my mother's social circle. Her office walls display photos of unique celebrations, none featuring matching sister gowns. Tell me what you want, she says, emphasizing the word. For the first time since my engagement, someone asks what I want instead of telling me what I should accommodate. Security. I say immediately. People who will enforce the guest list and keep certain family members from disrupting things. Tasha doesn't blink. We can arrange that. That afternoon, James's college roommate Marcus, now an IT security consultant, helps me change every password connected to our wedding. Vendor accounts, venue booking, photography portal. Your family won't be able to make unauthorized changes, he promises, typing rapidly. I've added two-factor authentication to everything. I call the venue directly, speaking with the manager instead of the coordinator my mother befriended. I'm the bride, the only bride. I clarify. Any changes must come directly from me or my fiancé. No exceptions. Understood, Miss Carter. We'll update our files immediately. The satisfaction of reclaiming my wedding spreads through me like warmth after winter. I transfer funds from my savings account to cover my parents' portion of the costs. The confirmation email arrives with a finality that feels like freedom. That night, I sleep in our apartment with my phone turned off. No texts demanding explanations. No calls filled with guilt. No social media notifications about family loyalty. James finds me on the balcony the next morning, watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee. You look different, he says, joining me. I feel different. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders don't carry the familiar tension. The knot in my stomach has loosened. I've spent my life trying to keep peace by giving pieces of myself away. Now I'm gathering those pieces back, one boundary at a time. Some might call it selfish. I call it survival. Later that week, after I thoroughly checked every part of the plan, I met my family for dinner. It's time to begin. You were right, I tell my mother, watching her shoulders relax as she serves another helping of pot roast. Family should come first. The dining room falls into stunned silence. Dad's fork pauses halfway to his mouth. Giselle, sitting across from me, narrows her eyes in suspicion before a slow smile spreads across her face. I knew you'd come around, Mom says, patting my hand. The diamond on her wedding band catches the light, reminding me of Grandma Rose's earrings. We all want your wedding to be perfect. For everyone, Dad adds pointedly, reaching for his wine glass. I nod, swallowing the bitter taste in my mouth. Actually, I was thinking Giselle might want to try on the after-party dress one more time, for proper measurements. Giselle nearly knocks over her water glass. Really? Really, I confirm, pulling my phone from my purse. Maybe we could take some photos for the memory book. Later, as Giselle twirls in my bedroom, I snap photo after photo. The ivory satin flows around her ankles as she poses dramatically beside my dressing table. Mom hovers nearby, her smile triumphant. The earrings dangle from Giselle's ears, catching prismatic light with each movement. These photos will be treasured forever, Mom says, squeezing my arm. I smile, clicking one final shot. Yes, they will. While they chatter about shoe options, I step into the hallway, thumb moving swiftly over my phone screen. The carefully crafted email sends with a quiet whoosh. My chest loosens for the first time in weeks. The next morning, my social media post goes live at precisely 8 a.m., when Dad starts his workday, and Mom checks her accounts over coffee. A bride deserves respect, reads the caption. Below it, a gallery unfolds. My designer shoes before Giselle borrowed them, then after scuffed beyond repair. My vintage purse, once pristine, now stained with makeup. My cashmere sweater, stretched beyond recognition. And finally, Giselle wearing my wedding after-party dress and grandmother's earrings. The comments flood in immediately. My professional colleagues rally with supportive messages and a hashtag that starts trending by noon. Bride not bullied. My phone begins vibrating nonstop. I silence it, sliding it into my desk drawer at work. My boss passes by, glancing at my computer screen where the post continues gathering momentum. About time, she says simply, and walks away. By lunch, 3 wedding vendors have publicly confirmed they will only take instructions from the actual bride, Helena Carter. My mother has called 17 times. I send each call to voicemail. What are you doing? James asks when I arrive at the bank that afternoon. His voice holds no judgment, only curiosity. Reclaiming what's mine, I answer, squeezing his hand before approaching the bank manager's desk. I spread the documentation across the polished surface. Receipt copies, transfer records, email confirmations, evidence of every dollar I contributed to our wedding fund, which my parents conveniently control. These payments were made under false pretenses, I explain calmly. I'd like them refunded to this account instead. The manager reviews the paperwork, nodding slowly. Everything appears in order, Miss Carter. James watches in quiet amazement as the manager processes the transfers. 20 minutes later, we walk out with financial leverage eliminated. My parents can no longer threaten to withhold funds they no longer control. I record a brief message on my parents' answering machine. I've handled the payments. The wedding will proceed as James and I planned it. The dress disappearance is my final move. I know Giselle's schedule by heart. 27 years of accommodating her has its advantages. While she's at her hair appointment, I empty my closet of everything wedding-related. My phone buzzes with Giselle's name 30 minutes later. Where is it? Her voice trembles with rage. Mom and Dad are furious. I imagine they are. I fold the ivory dress carefully into an acid-free box at my grandmother's house, miles away from prying hands. You can't do this. Giselle shrieks. That dress looked better on me anyway. Some things aren't meant to be shared. I place Grandma Rose's earrings in their velvet case beside the dress, especially when they were never yours to begin with. I end the call amid her protests, powering off my phone completely. Grandmother watches from her armchair, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. They'll be livid, she says, not sounding troubled by the prospect. Let them be. I close the lid on the box, running my fingers over the smooth surface. They've had control of my narrative for 27 years. The wedding is mine. Grandmother nods, reaching for my hand. And so, finally, are you. On the wedding day, I arrive at the venue 3 hours before the ceremony to find chaos already brewing. Through the glass doors, I spot Mom gesturing dramatically to the venue coordinator while Dad waves what looks like our contract in the air. Giselle stands slightly behind them, draped in a white dress suspiciously similar to my wedding gown. We had an understanding about the sister ceremony. Mom insists, her voice carrying across the marble foyer. It's a family tradition. The venue coordinator looks baffled. Ma'am, there's nothing in our paperwork about 2 brides. It's a verbal agreement, Dad blusters. We could pursue legal action for breach of contract. I grip James's hand tighter as we watch through the window. His college roommates, our impromptu security team, stand at strategic points around the entrance, looking both professional and immovable in their suits. Ready? James asks, squeezing my fingers. I nod. More than ever. When we enter, Mom's face pales. Giselle's mouth forms a perfect O of surprise. They didn't expect me for another hour, plenty of time to rearrange my wedding. Miss Carter, the coordinator rushes over, relief washing across her face. Perhaps you can clarify? There is no sister ceremony, I say, loud enough for the small crowd of workers to hear. My parents and sister are confused. I turn to Marcus, James's former linebacker friend now working security. Please ensure they stay in the designated family area until the ceremony. They're not authorized to make changes to any arrangements. Dad's face flushes crimson. You can't. I can, I interrupt, my voice steady. And I am. 2 hours later, I stand in the bridal suite with Grandma Rose adjusting my veil. My wedding gown, the main one, not the reception dress, Giselle tried to claim, cascades around me in waves of delicate lace. You look magnificent, Grandma says, her fingers trembling slightly as she secures the veil with a vintage pearl pin. Strong. Sarah, my maid of honor, returns from scouting the ceremony space. Your parents got the message. They're sitting in the front row looking like they've swallowed lemons. She grins. And Giselle keeps trying to make her dress look more bridal by adding flowers from the centerpieces. I should feel nervous, but a strange calm has settled over me. Let's do this. The processional music swells as I take Grandma's arm. We planned this carefully, no father walking me down the aisle. Instead, the woman who showed me what real support means guides me toward my future. As we enter, I hear the celebrant's voice ring clear. Today we gather to witness the union of Helena and James only. She places deliberate emphasis on the final word, making several guests shift uncomfortably. Mom's smile looks brittle. Dad stares straight ahead. Giselle fidgets with her costume jewelry, a poor imitation of Grandma's diamonds currently nestled in my bridal suite safe. I lock eyes with James and never look away. His smile becomes my anchor as I glide past the family that tried to steal even this moment. The reception begins with delicious tension as I emerge from the bridal suite in my ivory satin after-party dress, the one from the ambush. Grandma's diamond earrings catch the chandelier light with every movement of my head. The symmetry feels perfect. You reclaimed it, Grandma whispers, adjusting one earring. Everything, I confirm. Giselle sits at the family table, her expression fluctuating between outrage and calculation. Mom's anger shows in her white-knuckled grip on her champagne glass. The photographer captures it all, immortalizing their displeasure alongside my joy. When it's time for toasts, I rise first. To those who truly support us and respect our boundaries, I say, raising my glass toward Grandma, then James, then Sarah. Notably absent from my gesture, the front family table. The party flows perfectly until I spot Giselle sidling toward the DJ booth. Mom follows close behind, whispering urgently to the wedding planner who shakes her head firmly. Special sister toast. I hear Mom insist. It's traditional. Before Giselle can grab the microphone, James's best man intercepts her with practiced ease. The bride's playlist is quite specific, he says pleasantly, steering her away. I cross the dance floor, stopping directly in front of my sister. Not today, I tell her quietly. Not ever again. Her eyes widen. For once, she seems to understand, I mean it. 20 minutes later, Dad corners me near the cake table. We need to talk. Now. I follow my parents into a small side room, where Mom immediately dissolves into tears. You've humiliated us in front of everyone we know. Dad hisses. You'll regret this public display. Mom dabs her eyes dramatically. After all we've done for you, the sacrifices, the support. I study them both, really look at them perhaps for the first time. Mom's tears that appear and vanish with strategic precision. Dad's authority that crumbles when challenged. Thank you, I say finally. They look startled. For what? Mom asks cautiously. For showing me exactly who you are. I straighten my grandmother's earrings. Now I know exactly who I need to be. And Dad steps forward. If you walk out that door, you'll what? I ask. Take my car? My inheritance? My wedding dress? You've been taking pieces of me my entire life. There's nothing left for you to claim. I open the door, pausing in the threshold. Enjoy the cake. I picked chocolate because it was the only flavor Giselle hates. The reception continues without them. James finds me on the dance floor, pulling me close as we sway to our song. Over his shoulder, I watch my grandmother chatting happily with his parents, her diamonds catching the light with every laugh. Some jewelry isn't just decoration. Sometimes, it's armor. 6 months later, I stand in the bay window of our Connecticut living room, watching autumn leaves spiral across the lawn. 3 states and 800 miles now separate us from my family. The distance feels like oxygen. More coffee? James asks, patting across the hardwood floors in his weekend socks. Please. I accept the mug, inhaling the rich aroma. I was just thinking how quiet it is. No unexpected visits, no drama, no one borrowing my things. James settles beside me on the window seat. Your mother called again yesterday. I know. I curl my fingers around the warm ceramic. I'll call back next week. On my terms, with my boundaries in place. And if they push back? I shrug. Then the conversation ends. They're learning I mean what I say now. James kisses my temple. I'm proud of you. I can breathe here, I whisper, the simple truth of it still astonishing. Grandmother's silver Buick pulls into our driveway later that afternoon. Her move to the senior living community 10 minutes from our house was the best decision we made after the wedding. She settles at our kitchen table while I prepare tea. Her arthritis has worsened, but her eyes remain sharp as ever. I finalized everything with the attorney, she says, sliding a folder across the table. You're the executor now, and the primary beneficiary. The papers blur beneath my suddenly damp eyes. Grandma, you don't have to. You were the only one who saw them for what they were. Her weathered hand covers mine. This family has a pattern. Look. She opens a photo album I've never seen before. Pictures of my mother as a child, always stepping aside for her sister. My grandmother, young and resigned, surrendering her dreams to her brother's demands. 4 generations of doormats, she says with surprising frankness. Until you. 2 weeks later, I stand in my new styling studio downtown, arranging the magazine that features my wedding day look on the reception counter. My phone buzzes with a new client booking a television actress whose Instagram post about my boundary-setting bride style has brought an influx of business. What would make this moment perfect is knowing Giselle saw the latest issue of Style Quarterly, where her favorite influencer wears my signature accessory collection. I feel a satisfied smile spread across my face as I arrange the display. Creating, not accommodating. Building, not surrendering. The package arrives on a Tuesday. No return address, but I recognize my mother's handwriting. Inside lies my childhood diary, its purple cover faded. I flip through pages filled with my adolescent handwriting, documenting each borrowed item that never returned. A note falls from between the pages. Perhaps we should have listened. Not an apology, but acknowledgement. It's something. I place the diary on a bookshelf visible but not central. A chapter closed, not forgotten. Weeks later, Thanksgiving arrives with the scent of rosemary and warmth. Our dining table extends to welcome grandmother and the friends who stood with us through everything. Sarah arranges flowers while James carves the turkey. My phone rings in the study, my parents' number. Do you need to get that? Grandmother asks, knowing exactly who's calling. Tomorrow, I decide, returning to the table. Today is for joy. Today is for joy. We raise glasses as James offers a toast. To chosen family and hard-earned peace. I look around at these people who love without conditions, who support without manipulation, and feel the rightness of this moment. Some things are worth keeping. Some things are worth sharing. And some things like your self-respect should never be given away. As we laugh and pass dishes, I wonder what stories others might share about drawing their own lines in the sand. What finally gave them the courage to say enough? Perhaps their journeys echo mine. The phone stops ringing. Tomorrow is soon enough.